I want you to give the public the impression you gave me before this episode.
Oh, about the... Oh, okay, sure,
Yeah, the
fine.
coworker thing.
Yeah, so a coworker of mine today said that, my voice sounded extremely familiar to her. And then she mentioned a particular stand-up comic who most people know the name of. And I kind of see where she's coming from, if I'm to be honest with you. So that was flattering.
Having the ability to sound like someone in the John Mulaney spectrum seems like a solid retirement strategy.
I think it's mostly a party trick.
A party trick, maybe, but I don't know. I think that the Lost and Damned wish they had access to their own personal John Mulaney, who would, never leave them to go on tour, or never leave them to marry
Olivia Munn. Yep,
or...
there it is.
There's a lot of judgment of him.
No, he's just a regular guy. He fucks up like all of us.
That's a human being.
It's a human being thing. No, because that's the thing. People had turned him into a god, and he's not a god. He's John Mulaney, average dude who happens to be extremely funny.
And if I could just betray my own fan base, as someone who has been in a failing marriage,
yeah,
I think if Olivia Munn showed up halfway through, the ending would be awkward.
I can probably see where you're coming from, yes.
Oh, right, I forgot you're in a non-failing marriage. That's amusing.
It's amusing every day, even.
That's the goal, people. That's the goal, people. You entertain each other every day, as opposed to one of you is both emotionally unstable and in need of a green card. Moving forward.
Looking back, I should have been harder on the "don't fucking do it" than I was. I think I was
right,
not
Sam.
like that at all.
Between the two of us, you are the person who should be beating himself up over choices made in that year. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? Everyone warned you about not, warning me harder. Everyone told you need to tell Dennard that this is a stupid fucking thing to do.
When things fail, and they fail within proximity to me, I have this way of being like, I could have stopped it.
Wow, I wish you were in tech instead of half of the people in charge of deciding what is a point of failure or not. Imagine what fucking Twitter would look like.
Wish I was smarter than that. Or wish I was smart enough for that. But then, I don't actually know how smart most of the people in tech are if they've let it get to this point. Maybe they're just evil. I definitely believe that about Mark Zuckerberg, certainly.
I mean, I can believe that, Mark. I don't know if most of them are that smart or evil, or they just checked off a different box on orientation week than you.
Is Jack Dorsey smart or evil? Or stupid? Is he stupid or is he evil?
I would actually depart on both and call him someone of middling intelligence and middling morality in charge of something that was changing the course of information history.
So Victor Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He built a monster. He knew not what he was getting himself into.
He had a creation. It's almost the inventor version of the Peter Principle.
Sure, okay. Could you explain for the listeners what the Peter Principle is?
So the Peter Principle, that's just the fucking idea that everyone will eventually be promoted within an organization, but everyone eventually be promoted within an organization to the point of their own incompetence.
Yeah.
In theory, it's just the problem with politics as a field. But yeah, you'll be promoted until you are fucking up to the point of stabilization.
Not good enough at your job to be promoted again.
Yeah. In an abstract kind of way, that's just what's happened with that motherfucker inventing Twitter, and then it's like, wait, I have to manage it? I almost. Sympathy is not the word, but I understand the character arc of just fucking around with code and then suddenly having societal level responsibility that you are neither trained or just personally disposed to. There's a character that I understand what happened.
Yeah, no, when you put yourself in Mr. Dorsey's shoes.
I need you to just imagine Mechanics. Fun guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you were just a good mechanic, there was a chance you wound up as a U.S. senator.
Well, imagine being the mechanic who invented the first Gundam robot. Just, fucking around in his garage, and you built a Gundam. And then suddenly, 3 years later, a colony drops on Australia.
He's go, oh, where did this machine go wrong?
I was just fucking around.
It's a uniquely software specialist problem. Like, the guys who are making quantum computers aren't going to wake up making choices about what our social structure looks like.
This reminds me of this one, I guess, theory that was postulated, which is that the person who makes first contact will be assassinated. Yes. It is unavoidable.
Yes, that is the best riff in our Star Wars episode. You had a good one of that.
Oh, I already brought this up. Okay.
Oh yeah, it was during the sort of Tezuka infused Toby short.
God, I've got to find some more reference pools.
That's a fun reference pool. If someone remembers that, they already love us and they're already stuck.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Haha, you
Eat
love
it,
us. Okay, so before people start thinking that this is, something other than an anime podcast.
Oh, right. Okay, so I guess enough of the gun show of our deep, brilliant thoughts. We are in the middle of a manual reread of Naruto, because that's the kind of choices we make. For specific context and reference for people who read along, who are just more organized in their lives than I am, this is chapter 210 to about 280. Some stuff probably in the short run before and after that will drift in just because the thing wasn't really written around those breakpoints.
It'll be much like an episode of Naruto.
It is also worth noting, now that he mentions that this is manga only, so you're just not gonna hear complaints about filler because
it's been done. It's been like the filler. It sucked.
It sucked. It was bad that happened.
I think if there is an advantage to the filler, if we're being fair, if there is an advantage to the filler, it is that you did get to spend a little bit more time around the side characters and grow to maybe like them a little bit more and thus be a little bit more invested into what happens to them. Because think about the character, and this is going to tie into a thing that I'm going to bring up. Think about the character Hinata, right?
Mm-hmm.
After her fight with Neji in the Chunin exam arcs, she does not appear until really appear.
Right.
Barring like one or two little, there she is in that panel, right? She does not really appear in this manga until well after the time skip. So
deep tissue.
So you have this big cast of kids, right? All the kids who are in their squads, who did a good deal of showing up in the various filler arcs in Naruto prior to the time skip. I'm pretty sure I seem to remember. So in that way, the filler was somewhat useful in endearing the viewers to these characters a little bit better. Because here's the first thing that I think...
the problem is just the innate quality variation.
Yeah, but it was like, here's these people who, you otherwise would not get to know, involved in a really substandard plot line.
An interesting point of comparison as far as anime filler goes is that when a series is a runaway hit, Shonen Jump has a habit or a hobby of just starting a standalone sort of expansion story manga with another author. Like Hiroaka has
like the Vigilantes thing, yeah.
And Dragon Ball Super. Bang! Okay, no, but and it kind of just makes me think about that idea of expanding on characters or a world outside of... Because some of these shonen hits are about building, just sort of this sort of wider world. That's like part of the appeal of Naruto to a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm sure that by the time we get to the end of the 700 chapters that make up Naruto, we are going to still be more or less without a decent amount of context about, I don't know, some village or another that the filler fills in.
I've got a lot of questions about the social structure of Hidden Rock Village.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. I never will. Although, in fairness, the more I learn in this story about the Sand Village, the more interesting I actually find it. I actually think that its baggage, its history, its, the problems that it faces are slightly more interesting. Not even slightly, are quite a bit more interesting than the Leaf Village.
I thought it was a I don't hold it against the thing that it's a little more interesting in Leaf Village for a sort of strange reason.
Well, it might be
Because
like the
I
kind of
think if it was
protagonist problem.
It's
Like,
a protagonist problem, but it's
yeah.
also... I was having that thought, and then I realized, wait, if it was boring or it just said it's like Leaf Village, but I would probably hold that against it. Like, why am I even spending time learning about this place? I appreciate if we're going to learn about a new location,
that
it's
it has...
reflected that there's some thought or effort into it.
Yeah.
And I do like just the basic concept of life is fucking harder. It's not going well.
Well, life is hard. It's not going well. It's kind of unstable.
Yeah.
There have been all sorts of, mysterious deaths of the Kazekage that have kind of rocked it over the course of the last few decades.
And the Sand Village is like a borderline failed state.
It's really just hanging on.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If all of those traits were applied to the Leaf Village, I think that there might have been something to that. I think that we could have had a little bit more of an urgent background hanging over, the actions of our protagonists.
I think it would make spoilers, I guess, if you're reading along in precise order for whatever fucking reason. Do you remember the whole Danzo thing?
He's that dude with all the bandages who's a dick, right?
Yeah, he just comes along later. He runs the ninja village's ninjas that are their black ops, whatever.
There's dudes who die all the time. He's doing a great job.
But yeah, he's an antagonistic figure, and I think maybe that if the Leaf Village were characterized in the way you're describing, his whole thing might have had a bit more heft to it, which is an interesting idea, but whatever, now it shakes out. But yeah, Sand Village as a setting totally works, and that's relevant to this segment because we spent some time there.
We spent a decent amount of time, but before we do,
there, they guest star over in the Leaf Village outskirts in some fights. Shall we talk about those fights?
Yes, we now come to the second half, third.
However you break it up.
I'll call it the third of the Sasuke retrieval arc, which encompasses, I believe, the finish to all the little fights besides. I feel like Choji's had already wrapped up at this point.
Yeah, Choji's has wrapped up and Neji's has wrapped up.
That was some fucking brutal shit.
Kids meddling.
Kids in the fucking woods shooting each other. Yeah, so we get a wrap up of the Kimimaro fight, and I think this might actually be my least favorite fight finish in this manga thus far, by a pretty large margin.
The fight finish in the Kimimaro thing fascinates me in that in a manga so dedicated, like love it or hate it, but just so dedicated to the idea of using fights to reflect X traits of X characters.
Mm-hmm.
Which, honestly, in a long-form action thing, maybe that should be a goal. I am mystified by the ending of this fight for a comic with this trait because I can only infer that it means that these guys kind of suck.
Well, here, why don't we...
Explain it?
Yeah, the context of the end of the Kimimaro fight, right?
Yeah.
Is that... So, Gaara and Rock Lee both, are on the goddamn rocks with this guy. He has created a big field of bones, and just before I could tell you how fucking stupid that is, but to each their own. He's created this gigantic
field.
Nope,
I'm not giving to each their own. No, I stand by my entire rant from the previous episodes. It is like Marrow's power, but with even more dumb edge, and... Look, you're trying to convince me this is such a fantastic genetic superpower that double brain Hitler was going to put himself into his body. Kimimaro, as far as I can tell, is like one of those overbred poodles that dies if exposed to direct sunlight or turned on its side.
Oh, one of those pugs that you wake up in the morning and it just died in its sleep for one of 10,000 reasons, really.
And just comes in. He can grow his bones, but he's dying of a mysterious disease. Do you think it's from shooting his bones out his ass? I don't... Moving on.
Anyhow, he is about to kill both Gaara and Rock Lee with one, final coup de grace, and then he dies of his disease. His bonitis. He dies of his bonitis. And... Can I,
You can.
Okay. I want to know, Keish, I want to know what the fuck you gain by having it end like this. I want to know what you gain by having the outcome be, okay, this dude, this Kimimaro guy, who has showed up for this arc and died in this arc and is never going to show up again. I want to know what you gain by having him be the strongest. By having him be the fucking strong. By having him be the fucking strong. So much to the point that he can take Gaara, he can take Rock Lee at once, and the only reason that he did not win is that he did not get a chance to win because he died of his bonitis. I want to know why you think that this was an appropriate thing to do, why this was the sustainable thing to do, given that you have Gaara, given that you have Rock Lee as these very important recurring characters who are going to get into other situations, and they're going to figure into other arcs pretty heavily, and, you know, because this is a shonen fighting manga, right? They're gonna need a little bit of credibility going into these new arcs that are going to presumably feature shonen fighting.
It is mystifying to me. Like, there's a structural thing you mentioned, totally valid, totally important. They are the linchpins to events directly after and directly before this. Mm-hmm. So you can't even say, like, oh, you know, people forget old South North time. No, just directly over into all of that shit. We're also just missing something very basic here.
Which is
just in the moment, just raw. Forget my undergrad degree, forget anything I've written, forget my graduate degree, forget whatever class I'm teaching.
Okay.
It's just fucking lame. It's just fucking lame.
It is fucking lame.
It is just a boring ass washout way to end the fucking fight.
It is. It's worse than like the fart finish from the Naruto Kiba thing, which didn't bother me as much. Here's the thing: if Kimimaro, if he's going to walk out of this fight dead because you killed him, I have to imagine that you intended to kill him, Quiche. Why wasn't it that Gaara or Rock Lee were the ones who killed him? Did you think he was that fucking cool that your precious boy could not possibly fall to the hand of another? Because that's the only explanation I could come up with. That's the only reason, real, actual reason that you would do this, is if you loved this character so much you couldn't bear to see him take a fucking pin from Gaara, from Rock Lee. Two fan favorites, by the way. Both super over, to use some Brian Alvarez parlance.
It's a fucking mystery, like your two t-shirt machines up to that point on both the hero and villains. It's kind of mystifying to me, and by
mystifying was exactly the word that I was thinking I was going to use just now, because there's no reason for it. There's no reason to have ended things that way. It's just frustrating. It just makes Gaara look like a chump. Gaara, by the way, over the course of these 70 episodes, tumbles down the fucking card. Like fucking Sweep Road down the goddamn stairs. It might have been Hella Jeff. I can't keep them straight.
Completely unconfirmed thing, but just wrestling fan legend holds that at some point Randy Savage might have subbed a Stephanie McMahon, and they just super resented that. And that is just what I imagine for someone falling down the card the way that Gaara kid did.
That's an interesting. So this is the first time ever hearing about that, and instead of
Honestly,
Naruto, I'm just thinking
TMZ
about the
rumor.
age gap right now.
Well, I mean, that might feed into the fucking resentment. That
Probably, yeah.
I would take issues with it.
I would probably take that pretty seriously if that were something that I thought happened. Yeah. Okay.
Also, if that's totally false or whatever, please do not sue me, Randy Savage estate.
But Gaara is not a real fucking person who did not sleep with anyone, so I don't know why he's being treated this way.
I know,
given the buildup that he got over the course of, the first 60, 70, 80 chapters of his existence.
I know, he had a lot of Hot Topic groupies, even if he didn't exist. Are you sure he didn't sleep with anyone?
That's a troubling thing to think about, and I'm not going to do it.
Not everyone's favorite model of the fictionalization, fair enough. I kind of wonder if it's just harder for me to buy because I think the bone thing is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, if I thought this was just fucking sweet.
Oh, if he was just real fucking cool and he had a power set that was real fucking cool.
Because, I mean, think of the tools of the medium, right? Like, just in this comic book, punching people looks good. Weird sand earth bending looks good.
All right, here. Can I use my golden boy here?
Yo.
Let's think about Chainsaw Man for a second here. How did the Bomb Girl fight finish? Because honestly, there was so much cool shit going on in it that I can't actually remember how the finish went. Did he come out on top clean?
Oh, God. Okay, so shark riding up the walls. Right? You know what? I'm gonna hard pause the world here. I'm just gonna pull it up on the fucking app. Chicka 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 chicka. I know he didn't kill her,
I'm
but
sick of him. You know what? Flipping the you know who. Yeah, but he's so cute though. Yeah, probably got a couple of screws up in my head, Liz, but no worse than what's going on in your parents' bedroom.
Jesus, this thing moves faster than everything in Shonen Jump. I'm looking. Oh, that's chapter 58. Is the fucking start of the Tokyo Assassins arc and
the dude who just got hit by a fucking car. That's my phone lock screen now. It's just their reaction to hitting the assassin with a fucking car.
Because it is some beauty in a dejected world.
It's a fucking horrible pitch black comedy sketch of the family burger restaurant scene.
That thing is just
It's perfect. It's a perfect vignette.
Alright, I'm looking at the finish here. So there's a really Hollywood cinematic just standoff shot of them on the shore.
Okay.
And essentially he wow, Denji gets weirdly brainly finishes for the way he's characterized. He figures out a way to sort of tie her up and chain things and drown them both, and they wash up on the shore.
But he can't die.
And neither them can die in that context.
Yeah. Okay.
And they wash up, and she fucks off, and then story stuff happens.
Okay, cool. So I would say Denji comes out on top in that fight.
Functionally, yes.
Functionally, yeah. Okay, cool.
The character beats point towards his development.
Yeah. No one comes out on top of the Gaara Rock Lee versus Kimimaro fight. Gaara looks like a fucking chump who just got it handed to him by Bone Man.
Yeah.
Rock Lee, similar. The Drunken Master thing was kind of cute for a second, but really to what end?
Where you take things colors everything you did before, and it just kind of renders the entire scrappy underdog Drunken Master sequence pointless.
It was a thing that happened now instead of it. Whatever.
He could have just played DDR in front of Kimimaro and had the same.
It would have had the
ultimate
same
impact.
effect, yeah. Because like Kimimaro, he got all the gravitas that you would give to a recurring villain, and he doesn't fucking recur. So who cares? Who cares?
Mystifying.
If I'm not forgetting anything, next up we actually have the Naruto versus Sasuke fight that ends the pre-time skip.
Technically, there's the Tamari Kankuro finishes, but we talked about enough last episodes. We can just go into the.
Sure, yeah. They're both really fucking sick. Tamari and Kankuro both come out looking way better than Gaara.
My theorem that the less something matters to the overall Naruto plot, the better the execution will be, is holding up right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tamari has one of my favorite moments of this arc, which she's just like, oh, okay, so we burned the force down, Master Way.
Great. Her old tyke bomb thing.
Okay, so now we've got Naruto versus Sasuke. Now, this fight has a lot of things going for it.
Yeah, we have reached what is operatively, I guess, the point.
The climax of pre-time skip span of time that was the intro arc, the Land of Waves, Chunin Exam, Invasion, Search for Tsunade, and now this guy.
I blew a one-liner way too early in our history of Naruto here.
Oh no.
I said something was emblematic of everything right and wrong with Naruto.
What were you referring to then?
I don't know, but this is it way more on both fronts.
Sure, yeah. So, within the context of the Kimimaro fight that immediately preceded this one, a non-zero amount of filler up to then as well, I'm pretty sure. This was the point at which I dropped Naruto when I was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Was during this fight, when they tell each other, no more words, just action. And then we flash back for like 6 fucking episodes to shit that I don't care about because Sasuke isn't interesting.
It's such a hard thing. When you look structurally, your protagonist, your antagonist, your deuteragonist in this case. Just structurally. Deuteragonist, whatever. Second important person.
Mm-hmm.
Just structurally. The farm is bet on both of these people being just consistently original, compelling,
having something going for them,
and making sense.
Yeah.
And Sasuke is not holding up his half of the fucking equation.
I spent so long in the last episode, and probably the episode before that, on how little his character really holds up under scrutiny, how weak his motives ultimately are, how amazingly, like, petty his motivation of Naruto can't be stronger than me. That's bullshit. Really is. Like, if it were treated by the narrative as being that petty, then that would have been one thing, but then he would have been a probably irredeemable character for, becoming the way he is,
right,
and doing the things he does, for being so amazingly petty and having the narrative treat him as amazingly petty, but he's amazingly fucking petty.
It is this human emotional logic problem, and I think I understand part of it. I think just ultimately this shonen manga idea of I need to become stronger to accomplish X.
Sure.
It's already thin, but it's just way more functional on a protagonist or face or positive person level. And when you're trying to go for someone who's supposed to be aspiring to some kind of like Griffith level internal division,
sure,
and that is their base emotional thing, it becomes very alien.
Here's the theory. What if Kishimoto's idea was like, okay, so here's the stock shonen motivation of I need to become stronger, and what if it was a bad guy's motivation? Then what? And that's perhaps an interesting question to ask. And at least in this context, it is not a very interesting question to answer. Or at the very least, he did not come up with a very interesting answer for it. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm going to recycle a metaphor from the long-forgotten early episodes of Weeaboo Hell.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Comedy Central Presents special. I am so sorry I cannot remember the comedian's name still.
Sure.
But this is not my insight. But he had a great opening joke to the effect of, touring up for this album, I've been working on my transitions. So I hope you enjoy my jokes. What I really hope you enjoy are my transitions. And Sasuke's whole problem is his transitions just don't make fucking sense. He gets his ass beat once. He's already 50% in the darkness. He comes out of the hospital. He's howling at the moon and calling for the power of the devil so he can slay his foes.
I get if you're listening to this and you're tired of us talking about this, but this manga
is about it. It's about this.
It is about this. It is about this. Like, you could call this manga Sasuke and get away with it.
Like, you could call this Sasuke brooding in the same way you could call Hellsing Alucard shooting people. It's really caked into how we're spending our time. But whatever. We're in this fight now.
It starts out good. It starts out really cool. I like the whole fun, gates of, oh god, help me. You're
gates
more
of Konoha. I don't know.
No. Like from Lord of the Rings. What is that setting, or what is like that particular geographical setting that they end the first movie on?
Man, I read the Silmarillion. I don't remember. Whatever. You know what he's talking about.
Okay, remember. Okay, end of Fellowship of the Ring. They're paddling down the river. They come to those giant goddamn statues, and then that starts playing. It's there. That is where that fight takes place, except it's the two first Hokages.
So they do a good job of using the little layout of their Mount Rushmore there. I remember there's a particular sequence where they're swinging around a finger while they're doing their punch-em-ups.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
Yeah, it's real fucking cool. It is using the setting to their advantage, because this setting is all about, like, big statues and shit like that. That's a big part of the aesthetic, is large structures that look like a dude. They're all over Konoha. They're to pass the time skip, the Akatsuki lair has a big fucking statue who looks like an evil dude, and these are big statues of two previous rulers. It's good. It works.
It doth function, and Yeah, I remember particularly just that shot of swinging around the finger was working for me.
Yeah.
And then we run not into a mortal flashback, but the mother of all of them, just when I am getting into the tempo of this fight, which is just a flashback to Sasuke's childhood. And I finally figured out what annoyed me the most about this. It just hit me.
What's that?
It's not only that it's a flashback. It's only that it's long and protracted.
Yeah.
It's that, as far as this fight goes, it doesn't even have new information. Look where you are after that flashback. His brother that he liked killed his family, which is what we thought about Itachi before, when he showed up before and he said, hey, my brother that I used to like killed my family. And then we take this whole journey to the west, fucking march through his childhood, where we learn that the Uchiha family are evidently all cops, so Itachi did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I was like, I'm supposed to hate Itachi now? This is supposed to make me hate Itachi? It's not. It's not doing that, Kish.
The Manyeko Sharingan is good practice, is what I'm trying to get at here.
The information that we come out of it with is that for the Mangekyo Sharingan to work, you need to kill your best friend, because I guess your eye knows.
I do not understand the logic train there.
It's really not great. It's not
what
like...
if I just have a fucked up dream and I like kill my best friend? Did I do this? Wake
Will
up
the eye
with a
understand?
Doom-eye,
Like, will the eye get tricked into thinking, oh shit, he killed his best friend. I better start, like, I better get it going now.
Is it human friends? Would Kiba have to, like, snap his dog's neck? What if you have an imaginary friend? How many Uchiha toddlers just came out with a Mangekyo Sharingan out of a particularly intense backyard session?
Yeah, they couldn't be tried as an adult. Honestly, yeah, it's not like a bad plan if you're trying to raise like a whole, clan of like dudes who could do this.
Oh, that would be great.
Just have them do it when they were like 5. Send them to therapy, and by the time they're 16, A, they can do a Mangekyo Sharingan, and B, they're reasonably fine.
Also, I think it makes you go blind, so it
I don't try.
Sucks. Yeah, it raises questions. I have, call it a positive insult or backhanded compliment when it comes to Itachi stuff. It's something I find just throughout this reread of actually multiple elements.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit that I thought was just sort of made up as it went along that was actually just a bad long-term plan. Like, it's not random. I will say that the shit happening in Naruto just generally is not random so far.
There's one thing that they planned to do and didn't do, and then a random thing happened instead, and we can touch on that. I think I already have, but go on.
If you know what happens in all the Itachi bullshit and you read this chapter, you can kind of feel it, like, this is where it's going.
Yeah.
I still just, in the dramaturgy of the whole thing, it is so deflating every time he pulls the X person was not actually evil or malign. They were trying to do this secret good thing the whole time, galaxy brain thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would even say it's a problem that it is such a thin dramatic maneuver that it feels like you're making it up as you go. I guess I was saying that the whole Neji thing earlier that I whinged about is kind of a bad dramatic habit.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
So yeah, we have the whole, the Uchihas are cops, Itachi did nothing wrong flashback sequence.
Sure.
We come back to the present of the fight.
I don't know how qualified I am, but given that this is a podcast episode and not a YouTube episode, I can't really like take you through the fight physically, but it's, good. Things escalate. It looks like he kills Naruto. Naruto is like, woo, and he heals like the giant hole that Sasuke punched in him.
Yeah.
They each up the ante, and then Sasuke turns into a curse mark monster. And do you wanna do it?
You ever looked at like the expanded roster of a Juggalo label?
It's certainly easier to draw than, him with the curse mark all over his body. He just becomes gray and has hands for wings and has lipstick and a dumb haircut now. Everything about it. Oh my...
It looks so dumb.
Remember the episode of Seinfeld where Lelaine and her boyfriend, who I believe was played by Patrick Warburton, are going to go to a Devils game, right? And she's all ready to go. She's all set. She's, gotten ready. She's got her coat on. And Patrick Warburton comes out in, like, the full, like, Jersey Devils face paint and regalia and, like, this whole fucking, like, whoa, wow. This guy is way too fucking into this shitty hockey team from Newark. It gave me the same vibes as that particular scene. And I have to be seen with this person. Yeah.
If I were to describe it, he's got like a bad football face paint thing across the bridge of his nose. He has a Gyaru girl tan now. He has white hair that looks a lot like a broomstick held upside down.
And he has these big wings that are hands.
Yes.
That was the thing for me, at least, that kind of put it over. Like, everything previous to that would have just been like, this is okay, all right, well, that's kind of dumb, but and then, now he has hand wings, and that's like,
I wonder if it's harder because his whole character is just sort of hedged constantly on being or looking cool or what have you.
Yeah.
Because, that doesn't look cool.
No, nothing about that looks cool.
Anyway,
it is in fact lame.
Yeah.
God, I wonder how many things that are wrong with Naruto are things that are wrong with Sasuke.
Half of the farm is bet on shit with Sasuke.
Yeah, yes. Given how gigantic of a presence this character is in this manga, it's a significant enough percentage.
Let's say that your words and your art are half of the manga in one sense.
Yeah.
In another sense, the two halves of this manga are basically Naruto and Sasuke.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that Sasuke comes off all this shit, it's the equivalent, narratively, of if he couldn't draw. Sasuke is just the equivalent of Kishimoto just could not fucking draw.
Yeah.
So this fight rolls on.
Mm-hmm.
And it finishes with another Chidori and Rasengan fucking beam clash.
Yeah, that's the one thing that physically did not do it for me with this fight. Most of the fight up to now was pretty sick, gotta tell you, and then it ended with big explosion versus other big explosion. They're punching each other with explosions. And that's the end of the fight.
It's a very Hollywood problem.
It's so shonen. It's a very shonen problem.
I mean, Hollywood's picked up on this had like ending movies on beams versus beams.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's the same problem as beams versus beams. It's just a different shape.
Yeah, just different shape and, I don't know, more hand-holdy, I guess.
There's this moment somewhere. This is not quite related. There's this moment somewhere in the fight where Naruto says that Sasuke is what he imagined having a brother would be like.
I remember that.
It's a very powerful moment. Mostly. Here's the thing. Naruto might believe that. But Sasuke spent pretty much the majority of his pre-heel turn, character arc just fucking sneering at Naruto. And I'm not going to say that I didn't do my fair share of sneering at my brother when we were growing up. But there has to be, like, something in there. There had to have been some good times, narratively. There had to have been some amount of good times that they had together. And we get tiny little slivers of that up to now, but really not enough for me to buy that these two enjoyed being in one another's presence.
Believe it or not,
yeah.
For all I shit on a lot of this,
mm-hmm.
I would actually... I mean, this also just goes into my we have had 270 chapters of content theorem.
Sure.
I would actually say that there is enough, in just a sort of trenches kind of way, growth together between, like, the land of waves nonsense or coming to appreciate each other during the little exam business.
Yeah, there was that one bit where he shared his lunch with them when he was tied to the post.
Because all their interactions are basically just like all those stories of learning to relate to each other in a combat scenario.
Mm-hmm.
The emotional logic of the narrative still makes sense to me. The whole Sasuke thing, it's I keep saying alien because it's literally an alien it's not an evil logic chain to me, it just doesn't make fucking sense to me. So wait, so do you get an evil after you think you've killed your best friend? Like, when he's holding him up? Okay, I can't
like,
let
can
go.
you fool the eye?
I feel like I'm making fun of Catholics right now.
Alright, so here's...
Like, the whole, like, redemption automatically through prayer thing. it raises a similar genre of questions.
Well, here's what I now wonder, right? Did he think at the end of the fight when he's sort of just lying there? No, but he knew that he wasn't dead, right?
Right.
And then decided to spare him.
Well, yeah, he walks away to find his own strength as someone else's bitch.
I mean, I guess that's nice, I guess. It's like, I'll go become best friends with someone else and kill them. That's kind. How kind.
Good for you, snake intern boy.
Okay, I'm ragging. I'm straining to rag on that moment. It's a pretty nice little... Okay, there's still some good left in him after he's had his, evil turn kind of go. It's good. It's good. It does work. Like that moment does in fact work, and I'm going to give it the credit that it deserves. He is gone grimdark, but there's still something left. That is what is trying to be communicated, and that is what is communicated. But the path that we took to get there, not without its bumps.
There's a minor fridge logic thing. It's not something I take much issue with because they don't need a lot of manpower, so it's just kind of funny to think.
Mm-hmm.
But as I throw in the kitchen sink, trying to make sure this mission goes all for Sound Village or Sound Bunker. I prefer calling it Sound Bunker, but there's just fucking Kabuto saying that, hey, do you think you should go help? I got got a fap. You see, as a medical ninja, I can throw chakra through the shaft as I... Okay.
Okay, so...
I'm a professor now.
Not just a professor, an Ivy League professor.
This is what I'm going to tell your kids.
You're a professor, and I'm a labor organizer.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
It's two really interesting paths that we have walked.
Do you think we're going to, fight walking on water in a... That is a nice little touch with the thing.
That was cool.
That was training cool. to do the water thing.
To do the water thing, and they're both very good at it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good. Good. Props.
That's what they call good shit.
Then when they get back, when we get back from the fight to the Leaf Village, and everyone's like, all right, guys, 3 years. 3 years. It's no more, no less. Everything that is about to happen will take 3 years for all parties. Don't worry about it. 3.
Nothing takes 4. Nothing takes 2.
It's going to take 3 years, Naruto, for me to train you. It's going to be 3 years, we figure, before Akatsuki attacks. Don't worry about it. It's going to take 3 years, and it should take around 3 years or so before Orochimaru needs a new body. 3.
Also, there's going to be a solar eclipse in 3 years. There's going to be an earthquake in 3 years. The economy is going to crash in 3 years. To really amusingly... If you could just feel the thumb of God on the scale.
Yeah, it is one of the moments where the hand of the writer is so very visible upon the page.
A festival of 3-year events. But the bridge of that, and we probably should talk about this, is a flashback. Less aggravating because it's not in the middle.
It's not in the middle of anything. It's just bridging two things. It gives us probably some context for stuff that's going to occur going forward.
There's something that in my jackhole heart I kind of wish would happen and didn't happen, which was I was kind of hoping for a flashback Inception thing where there'd be a flashback within this.
God.
They didn't go that far to memory.
I'm very glad that they did not. I don't want to spend too...
That would have been your gold boat rant.
That would have been my golden boat rant, yeah. We'll get there. I am sure that we're going to have a flashback within a flashback at some point in this manga.
I know my gold boat rant. I'm so ready for it, but go on.
I don't want to spend too much time on the Kakashi Gaiden arc because really the manga didn't spend too much time on the Kakashi Gaiden arc, and that's fine.
The Kakashi Gaiden arc has a fun concept. What if you flash back to his character before he was cool?
Yeah, Kakashi's kind of a fucking dickhead.
So, yep, I see there were some growing pains here. The one thing to note is that they are still very dedicated to this whole everything is Squad 3, or is it 7? Whatever the number is.
7. Everything is Squad 7.
And Kakashi was in a Squad 7 at some point.
And he was kind of the Squad Sasuke, really. And, you know, the Uchiha who is present, because there's always going to be a Uchiha who's present, was the Squad Naruto. and Rin was the squad Sakura, and
Squad housewife.
she was the squad Sakura and everything that comes with it.
The first thing I learned about her was that she was kidnapped.
Why?
And she's
Why do you do this? Why do you do this, Quiche? Like, I ask so little. I can't keep bringing this up every episode. Every time you fucking put a new female character in this fucking story, you do everything in your fucking power to undermine her credibility, whatever of it even existed. Like, she just got introduced. She basically has no credibility, and she has even less than that now.
I had a specific note when I reached that part.
Which is...
I'm assuming some people listening to an anime podcast are of a nerdish bent.
I have to imagine.
And when the Rin thing happens, and the first thing she does is get kidnapped and pose a mission danger for the other two, I wrote, what a terrible night to have a vagina.
Oh, God.
Why does he do... I don't...
I'm struggling to come up with a number for, like, how much he seems to actually hate women. Like, is it above 40? This is a very arbitrary scale that I've just kind of come up with, but is it a number above 40, do we think?
I think that it's a little subtler than that. He's like a hard 35, but he's in a very broad dramatic medium, and people expect girls to do things that aren't pointing.
Okay, so the lit major in me is wondering if maybe we should be reading this in the broader context of shonen anime or shonen manga.
Well, I mean that's what I'm getting at, because like you look at things over time, and there are things where the girls are just sort of decoration. There are things where the love interest only. There are things where they stand in the background, and the sort of broad realization is people saying, hey, are you sure that in this comic about people randomly being gifted the power to shoot lasers out their eyes, that girls can't just
also shoot lasers out their eyes at a, rate reasonably consistent with, the way that... Let's take the gold standard for shonen action fighting stuff, right? Which is,
For your money?
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Mm-hmm.
There's really only one female character in Yu Yu Hakusho who, had any amount of bearing on stuff that happened, right? That was Botan. She was...
There was also Keiko, who was pure love interest.
Yeah,
stand on the side.
Stand on the side, and Botan, who was, I'm going to tell you things about this now.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in the broader evolution of the medium, that Sakura or Rin are even involved at all could be seen as progress. Not great progress. And I don't want to be mistaken for giving Quiche credit here, but
something that might be fun, because it's sort of packaged mentally with the other big three things.
Sure.
And I've just read enough Bleach piece in my time to sort of compare it to the other two.
Okay. Who does the best out of the three of them?
So this is an open question, actually.
Okay.
So, Kubo
Uh-huh.
is a horny fucker.
I mean, so Zoda.
I'm going. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
sure.
I'm just breaking these down.
Okay. Kubo, horny fucker. Yeah.
He's a horny fucker.
A
lot of them are
he's
useless.
a tit man.
But a lot of his side characters are useless. They never get above the mid, but there are more of them in the mid than lower, weirdly, compared to Naruto in a way. Like, you end up with an Espada with the most unfortunate costume, but at least she can throw punches that are spine snapping in half.
Okay. Yeah, so they
I would
are
actually
closer
say,
to the median.
Outside of the whole Orihime weirdness, you have people like the ninja girls or whatever.
There was
I forgot the best way to say it.
what was the cat lady's name?
Yeah, that's Yoriichi.
Yeah, Yoriichi, yeah.
The women in Bleach. Once again, this whole series is me and backhanded compliments. Are bad Kubo characters. Bringing that pointless middling sensibility that you often find in the men there.
Fair enough. Okay, so...
And now here's the funniest one to me.
Okay.
One Piece has actually run for so long that it has actually gone through different epochs of sensibilities of female characters. Because when that comic starts, they don't do anything. And now he has, like, girls running around doing functional things in fights.
Finally, now the healing can begin.
And that is a super funny place for a comic to be in.
The only price they pay is their clothes, I guess, because Nami barely seems to wear any these days.
Yeah, he has... One Piece has been published through different waves of feminism.
We seem to be on the fourth one at this point, right? I've heard that there is a fourth one.
That is how people characterize it, yes.
Okay, cool. Just my dumbass who's been out of school for a decade now.
So yeah, that shit's funny to me.
It is extremely funny. Depressing. Funny.
So we're in the time skip now.
We're in the time skip now.
After the whole Rin, Kakashi, whatever hilarity. Oh, also, Obito dies.
Obito dies,
sort
yeah.
of. Spoilers.
Yeah,
And-
that's like, take note of that. Obito dies. If you're listening to this podcast instead of reading the manga, which I'm honored if that is the case, Obito dies. Take note. Dies.
So we get a 3-year time skip.
3.
Everyone's training. Some people are gathering their edge powers. Some people are being manually drained of their personality.
In fairness, in these, 35-ish chapters or so, after the time skip,
Yeah.
we do not see Sasuke yet. He does not show up again yet.
It's true. It is Naruto again, so
It
to
is
speak.
Naruto again. I mean,
Oh, it's coming.
it's coming. It's coming, but it hasn't happened yet.
I
But
hope
what
you're ready.
has happened is Gaara face planting at the rock bottom of the fucking card of this manga.
He's like fucking Zack Ryder.
Like, the first thing they do is tell you that he is now the Kazekage, the ruler of the village hidden by sand. And the second thing they do is have him job to this fucking dipshit
A guy.
of a villain.
Yeah. He gets his ribs kicked and is kidnapped by Deidara, who
I don't like Deidara.
I guess he's a joking man.
He must be, yeah, he's a joking man. He's, okay,
He's
so
an artsy joking man, and
Deidara,
I'm sure somewhere in media history, or in my own consumption of it, there is a action adventure character who does, it's more of a villain thing, but just ranting about his art and the meaning of art that I enjoy. Deidara is not that mother.
No, he feels like a weird fucking fighting game character that you unlock like way, way late into it, and it's like, this guy's kind of funny, probably not great for tournament play.
Actually, yeah, his characterization level and just having the gimmick and everything, I would describe him as a BlazBlue extra.
Here's
Time to make a big splash. A bomb splash. The wheel of fate is turning. Go.
Dennard is a really fantastic example of shit that I fucking hate about Naruto. He's a couple of different things that I hate about Naruto. A, what he does and how he operates. His fighting style, his, powers, whatever the fuck you want to call them. Stupid. It is what I would have been calling combat grass whistling, which is a very, like, overly esoteric thing that is turned into some apparently unbeatable combat style. In this case, having little dudes come out of mouths on his hands and they blow up.
As one does.
As one does. In terms of his personality, he is absolutely obsessed with something that means nothing in the greater scheme of this comic. This comic is not about art at all. This comic is about, loneliness and letting other people help you, ultimately. And here's this guy whose, villainous qualities have absolutely nothing to do with any of the themes being discussed in this, not even side themes. He's just this guy and art and something. And, like, if he were, like, a Batman villain, like a third-string Batman villain, he could get away with it. But this is a serialized comic book.
Oh, yeah, he might, make, for a good 10 minutes on The Batman, the WB11 show from 2005.
Yeah, exactly.
there's a weird thing with him, speaking of Batman, and I mentioned the joking man thing, but I think a big problem this character runs into. Part of his appeal is just he's sort of supposed to be funny in that, I don't know, Dark Knight 2008 kind of way. And it's not sticking.
It's not doing it, yeah. Yeah, I'm reminded of this one filler villain who's also, I can't remember his name, and I'm not going to look it up because it's not important, but there was this one dude who's also, like, another, if you want another example, was this one bad guy ninja who was obsessed with funerals, in particular, and he kept fucking talking about it. And I think they killed him or something like that, but, like, he was not interesting. He was kind of annoying. He wouldn't shut the fuck up about funerals and how great he thinks funerals are. And Dayle, exactly the same problem, but just with art now instead.
It's time for my exhibition's main display. Makes an easy to draw bird. By the way, it's not fucking lost on me how slightly easier to draw than certain other things. His clay pigeons and shit. It's like he looked at all the water dragon shit that Kimimaro and Zabuza were doing. Like, oh, no, more of that shit.
That takes forever. I'd have to hire a whole, like, new assistant for that.
Nah, homie, they don't feed us often enough for that.
Speaking of easy to draw, this is now the point in the manga where everything became visibly easier for Kish to draw, for Kish and his assistants to draw, because...
Oh, alright, do we have some character design opinions to talk about?
Here's the thing. I like
the jumpsuit.
I like time skips, right? I do. Mm-hmm. I really do. I like, seeing, okay, cool, let's catch up with these characters. What, has happened in the last, X, amount of time that has, like, changed them. And it becomes this sort of, like, fun mystery that you solve over the course of the time skip, right?
Yeah.
I like that. And I like seeing, characters who are young become older and, they get themselves in more age-appropriate situations than they were able to get themselves into when first we met them. And I like seeing, how they have physically changed, like how they have aged up. Do they have a different sense of style now? Do they have like a fun eye patch now?
Yeah, there are opportunities in that whole...
Exactly, yeah, right? Naruto grew up to be a slightly more boring version of himself, which is disappointing. Incredible. It's so disappointing because he looks like that one Caucasian pharaoh from the memes is the thing that keeps coming into my head. I don't think it's fair of me to make this reference or to, like, compare him to this, but, like, he just becomes, instead of nuanced, he becomes square-jawed and generic.
But it's there.
Like, the sort of, like, the dude who shows up in the zero punctuation videos just whenever he mentions the word generic.
Sakura is in a very odd place after this time skip.
I actually think she comes out on top. I think she is an exception here. I think she comes out better.
Better? She sort of becomes, like that girl on the magic school bus that always talks about her old school, but just being trained by Tsunade.
It does come up a lot, yes.
Which is very amusing. Team Guy comes back after time skip, those three. Or Team Might. I hope they're called Team Might, but...
I could look it up.
Doesn't matter. But that's your Neji, Tenten, Rock Lee, and they're the same.
They look mostly the same. I think Rock Lee wears a vest now.
Kind of just wonder what they've been up to, really.
The same stuff. Apparently Neji's a Jonin now. You could have fooled me. He's doing basically the same stuff.
Okay. I have never seen someone put on the bus in the middle of the arc, like, Team Guy, just... Yeah, they're stuck over there fighting themselves.
They're now. Okay, so I was thinking about this while I was reading it, right? And I was thinking, okay, so, clearly this happened because they needed a place to be that was not the fight between Chiyo and Sakura and Sasori, right?
Yeah, I mean, the whole arc put them in a weird place because if these guys are at all credible, then the fight would in theory be just the six of them standing around Sasori kicking him in the spleen.
Oh, like that one time when we were playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Bullseye showed up, and then Bullseye unshowed up after we were done picking his fucking teeth out of our boots.
Yeah, when it turned just four A-list superheroes kicking him in the ribs at once.
Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You can aim good? Cool. I'm Iron Man. I am an F-14 as a man.
Like, Neji is supposed to be a Jonin and still a genius, and Rock Lee have the way. In theory, it's just them holding his puppet legs while Naruto steps on his balls or something.
I guess they fare all right against their clone selves that the trap
I
sector.
hope you can fare all right against your clone self.
Boy, oh boy.
By the way, I'm pretty sure this is 1010's one win so far against anything.
That I know of, yes.
She beats up a rock version of herself.
And it
Gotta be
takes
honest,
a lot.
There are a lot of stray weapons around it, so I'm pretty sure it had her on the ropes for a while.
It really took all she could give.
You can sort of hear that one fucking Kill la Kill Don't Lose Your Way song.
Until my body is dry, as I believe
Until
the
my
name of
body
the
is
track.
dry, that's right. Ultimately, he is not, because of some key dialogue quotes of Gaara, at his peak. But as things unfold, Sasori is a new contender for the edgiest boy alive.
He is a contender for the edgiest boy alive, insofar as the 2021 Pittsburgh Steelers were a contender for the playoffs. Because, yeah, they were there against the Chiefs.
It is very hard to...
Because his competition is Gaara, and I'm sorry, but the position of edgiest boy alive has been filled emeritus for life.
That entire I need to kill other people to confirm my own existence thing, or as I put it, I have to kill hamsters to come, is so singular in the history of Edge.
It really is a moment, isn't it? It's a moment in history.
But like Sasori is sort of the heavy we come up against in this whole sequence.
He is edgy. Like, he's a pretty edgy boy.
He's a pretty edgy boy. There are these odd dialogue-free flashbacks. I guess he was experimenting with doing them less heavily, which is an idea he abandons.
Well, it's certainly not as annoying as, 6 fucking chapters of the, Life with Uchihas.
But it's these flashbacks of him as a little tyke with his parents. But his parents, he's actually killed them and turned them into murder puppets. And his whole gimmick is he turns people into murder puppets. And here's my personal verdict on Sasori.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he does and says. Because I'm not purely for or against it. It is cool, idiotic. It is... I'm going to steal a joke from Team 4-Star.
Okay.
I'm weird. I like the whole puppet death ninja thing. For Kankuro and him. I think it's just kind of a fun idea.
It was fun, yeah.
And there's a joke in Team 4-Star when talking about this Broly character in Dragon Ball. Where they're just, he's so stupid! Oh, but it's kind of cool, but he's so stupid! Less full tilt cool because it runs a bit long in the tooth as the fight goes on, but I understand what he was going for, at least. Like, there's kind of a Vampira kind of appeal to...
Oh, yeah, okay. So,
me and my corpses.
Me and my corpse puppets. I have destroyed nations.
That line is so fucking funny.
Wait, no, I didn't use... I feel like the sort of classical dastardly whiplash villain inflection is not actually the right inflection to be using for his I have destroyed nations, because it feels like... It feels like the end of a really fucking dumb shit wrestling promo.
Fair.
And then the stupid crowd just pops for it. Because they're stupid and they don't know any better.
Boy, they have really just bred their own inbred audience of monkeys. It's filtered them down over time.
I've got Cora Jade and Omos winning their respective Royal Rumbles this year. You heard it here first, boys.
Hello, everyone. To all survivors of what I can only assume is the Dark Rumble. Enjoy that. So the story fight goes on. Mm-hmm. His grandma's there.
Oh, so I like Chio. I like her a lot. I like her character. I like what they do.
Chio probably comes off best motivation and combat-wise of all the girls we've had in this so far.
Of all the side characters we've had so far. Hell, of most characters we've had so far. I really do enjoy Chio. I like, her past. I like her regrets. I like her contradictions. I like, where she's coming from, her motivations. I like Chio a whole lot. And it is a shame that she shows up for this arc and then dies, because she ended up being one of the more interesting characters from this comic up to now. Now,
She lived the right way. Die unburied.
Die unburied, yeah. I understand how it's kind of being unfair to be like, oh, this character is interesting. Why did you kill them? Because, She had her arc. She finished her arc. It was time for her to leave the comic. She leaves the comic by dying. Fine. Cool.
It keeps her out of the Neji slot, too.
That's the thing. This highlights the problem with extending a character's tenure and extending their arc artificially. You end up with the Neji problem, where this dude
just waving in the background.
who was like so fucking bad, and it was such a fucking threat, and like he was kind of interesting, and he was a good bad guy. And then once his arc is concluded, he's there to sort of fight a clone of himself, and Byakugan, okay, the little seals are over there, right? That's what he's doing these days.
I wish I'd even just at least done a joke with this, because if I was a member of the new Team 7 or whatever, and the entire time I was almost being murdered by iron sand and double poison and exploding birds, my backup team was just jacking off in the corner, I would be displeased.
I certainly wouldn't have good feelings about it now. So yeah, there's that. And then there's, the artificially extended arc that is Sasuke's arc, but we just spent the first fucking 20 minutes of this episode talking about that, so I'm not going to keep going with that.
Fair enough.
Anyway, like, how succinct and beginning, middle, end Chio's arc ends up forming an unfortunate contrast with how meandering certain other character arcs in this series are.
This is a thing.
And how once an arc is completed, you should either come up with a new one or write them the fuck out, because here's Neji
just waving in the background,
just trying to find something to fucking do.
Just say, I'm an adult now. Blink. Man, a thing is starting to set in here in this part, by the way, that I don't like, because, as I said, I enjoyed the sort of peak of Naruto's arc so far, the whole figuring out the Gaara thing, making it through the skin of his teeth through that situation, sort of reaching his apotheosis.
Sure.
And this thing is setting in where the dude is just starting to become dumb.
Yes, yeah, he also finished his character arc and was not made better for it.
I see the point of having him come back more book dumb after his extended training and being older.
Mm-hmm.
It just, as far as I could tell, all he learned was different shapes of baseballs to throw at people. Which is one thing, but it's not character growth, it's another size of baseball.
Wait, which character are we talking about here?
Naruto.
Okay, never mind. I thought you were talking about Gaara here. Sorry, I've been drinking.
That hasn't been happening, folks.
He looks alright. Like, I remember looking specifically for, okay, does he look like a moron? Does he look like he's learned nothing? He does not get punked the way that I would be looking for as a red flag. Like, he does not spend the entirety of these chapters that we've covered, like, getting his asses kicked by people that he shouldn't be getting. Like, he does not encounter a Korra problem, right?
Oof.
He never encounters a Korra problem. Sometimes he encounters people who are like, okay, they have managed to find a way not to be, defeated by him, but he does not get his ass kicked by people who really he should have dead to rights, the way that Korra did all the time. So I'm going to say he came out all right. He came out looking all right. Maybe we can believe. Maybe I can believe. Maybe I can take it on faith that Akatsuki is just a better class of criminal, right, than, what he was dealing with up to now.
And I guess, like, textually they're supposed to be or some shit.
Yeah, and they're called as such in universe. So if they're called as such in universe and they do actually give him a hard time, at the very least catching them, beating them, whatever, right? Okay. Fine.
What do you think of Akatsuki's cop-out no jutsu?
I think there was this meme about how, like, the Uchiha art of running away. This was popular during the course of the manga, and the shoe fits.
I would call those Pumas. I like a good pair of Pumas.
I do Keens every time they wear out or replace them with the exact same pair.
Fair enough. By the way, I guess Deidara and Sasori have like a mild buddy cop moment where they talk about their theories of art. And you're there, weren't you kidnapping someone?
I could charitably refer to it as kind of Tarantino-y. Very, very, very charitably.
You said Sakura comes off better in this segment.
I thought so. Like, she even got a fight that she won. Man, how about that?
She got to be in a fight. She got to win it. She got sort of... It's such a strange journey to it because she spends most of that fight sort of being jerked around like a action figure.
That was the one like mitigating factor in my praise.
And I had a mixed thoughts on it because it's weird because it's a cool like conceptually idea, maybe choreography wise, but for her character of I'm finally getting it together, it takes a little something out of it for me.
Yeah. Pretty much the same thoughts over here.
Which is unfortunate, but it is definitely worlds above her fainting from the sidelines as Naruto and Sasuke pose.
Yeah, that wasn't good back then. That was not good.
It was not good. It was not good. For a point of comparison, when the dudes Naruto and fucking Kakashi do ridden to the sidelines, they are just in a full-fledged fight over there, which is a very big contrast.
Yeah. She wasn't even fucking present for the fucking Sasuke retreat. I'm still like getting over that.
It's kind of wild,
I'm still trying to get over that because she was just kind of knocked out. She was incapacitated overnight. It's not like she wasn't in any condition to go out there.
She couldn't have fought Rock Guy.
She could have like... I don't know why having her be present there would have made that whole moment any less powerful. In fact, it probably would have made it more powerful if she were present there at, that Lord of the Rings, like fight arena that they found themselves at.
Honestly, it would have even been more impactful and just better for her to get chumped out there than just in the village.
Yeah. It's okay. We move on.
And this is the start, I guess, the comic trying to make more effort with Sakura. We'll see where it goes.
I'll believe it when I get to the end and be like, yes, they did improve.
There's something I want to make a joke about, and because of the long thrust of this, I have been distinguishing between things that I'm just amusing myself versus things that are problems. This one's me amusing myself.
Mm-hmm.
They have one of those tactical Naruto breakdowns at one point in the Sasori fight, where Chiyo decides, I've got it, Sakura, hit him with your super strength. I guess.
Yeah, I should probably do that, shouldn't I?
That's a quality idea. It's like you need to hit him with your super strength and not get poisoned. I agree.
Thanks.
Those are two great points. I also agree that we should strike the enemy without being hit ourselves. If I were to break down my goals for this exchange, I definitely want to punch him a bunch and not get stabbed. We call those goals. Oh, also,
I actually like how simple Sakura's kind of power set is, but relative
in a world of grass whistling.
In a world of combat grass whistling, I like it's a weapon. It's really powerful, especially against living things. Is
punches people in the fucking stomach. Let's see. Oh, I just had the old Dragon Ball Z joke of when they say 3 minutes with just the word liar.
I'm out of shit to talk about for this particular span of episodes. I've gotten to most of what I wanted to say.
Just one more bit of fun for me, but yeah, I'm pretty much out shit too. It was just, Hey, Chiyo, do you want to hand some notes on Resurrection to your homies before you... Wait, no.
Write it down.
Though I guess they figure that shit out anyway, so...
Yeah, if what I've read is anything to go by.
Oh, add just the whole thrust of Resurrection and bringing back the dead to things that I, as a foolish youth, called an ass pull and are actually just a stupid long-term plan.
It is a stupid long-term plan, yeah.
Because it is just a recurring thread of people exploring, bringing back the dead, regretting deaths, whatever. It just goes to a dumbass place.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is this stretch of Naruto. Thank you for listening to me ramble.
This has been Weeaboo Hell.
Labor organizer and professor, huh?
It's funny how this stuff happens.
Yeah. Oh, also, Sasori's fucking self-puppet thing is fucking hilarious, but it kind of works.
Self-puppet is fucking hilarious. Kind of a tryhard in general is sort of how I would characterize him.
He's like a Clover Studios boss.
That era.
Yeah. Alright, peace out, fuck 12, etc.
Fuck 12.